Hey YouTube, what's up? Scarecrow here. I'm going to do a quick deck profile on my updated ZTB now that the set 14 is out. So, get started. Alright. Starting Vanguard, Chrono Z. We don't time leap as much as we did anymore, so you can't really utilize Chrono the original anymore. And Z is helpful that you can use them early game in a format where like things like Chaos exist or Overlord and stuff. If you're waiting too long, your opponent will just like kill your starter or lock it. So the fact that you can use him early and get his effect off before he's taken away is actually really helpful. That, and he gets like a bind card to make like your middle party dragons active, and he's good. He's actually really good. For the triggers, playing 3 Bison and 4 Hog for 7 crits. And then I'm playing 5 draws. I like the 7-5 ratio. In this deck, you don't necessarily have to kill your opponent super fast or anything like that. If you get to your 3rd stride, you're pretty much going to win anyways. So the extra draw power is kind of helpful in that sense, as well as just being helpful in general. And then our last trigger, we got our 4 heal triggers. So we can counter charge and soul charge. For the grade 1s, playing 4 Arca. Definitely hands down the best perfect guard for this deck. It's such a free recycling perfect guard. Binds things, sets up plays. It's a good card. Next we got Old Reliable Transit Dragon. This card is still like super good. This deck is very Soul Blast heavy, so he fuels your soul as well as being a booster and then drawing a card. Very good. Playing 3 Stride Fodder. You don't need it as much anymore in the deck. Like, you almost don't even need to like run it at like 3 here, because once you get to Jet Z, you can be doing a bunch of free striding off of his skill. But it's still helpful early game if you draw it to help you make sure you get to Jet Z by using his search skill. So, and sometimes you still gotta do like a stride manually. So then I'm playing 2 Mary Block. This card is very cool. When it's in the drop zone or deck, it counts as a grade 3. So you can use it with Jet Z skill and bind it to do stride. If you kill an opponent's grade 2 with Jet Z, you could grab this guy. And then his second skill, he buffs for every other ZDB you have. So you can like buff like plus 10. Very good. Very good. Sets up combos with middle party. And then my last grade 1 spot, I'm still playing 1 Hagald. This deck is Soul Blast heavy, so the fact that you can tutor into him and get a soul charge can be very helpful. Sometimes his other skill is very helpful too, to put stuff back in the deck. For the grade 2s, playing 2 Cruising and 2 Unicorn. 2 of each, because in this deck, being such a toolbox, being able to tag into whatever you want, I don't feel like I need to play as many of each, because if I want them, I can just go get them. So it gives me more variety having just 2 of each. Then I'm playing 4 Middle Party Dragon. He's a 10k, so it's good to ride him turn 2, and then you can use your starter to get a bind card, as well as you have other things to do it. So he's a good ride, and then his other skill later in the game, you can attack with him and use his skill tag into another grade in a grade 3 and get more attacks off. It's a very good card. I like him a lot. I'd definitely play 3 or 4, I mean. And then my last grade 2, I'm running 4 Rewind Tigers. I still love this card's early game. Sets up plays like for like middle party and stuff, binding stuff, gets you a draw, hits the opponent. Still a very good card. You should usually build your decks to have some kind of like early game like things they can do. In between riding a 10k middle party and be able to call this guy in the regard, it's still really good. And then for grade 3s, playing 4 Jet Z and 1 Jet G. Mainly you want to ride Z, obviously. He's really good. He lets you get free strides practically, and he snipes the opponent's field and improves your own. Running 1 Jet G just because it's like the next best thing to ride if you can't actually for some reason get to a Z before then. He's still a good card, but... And then for the last grade 3 spot, I'm playing 2 Ox. When I snipe an opponent's grade 2, I can tag into him, or if I want to just go get him off other mains, call him off middle party. I like him more than like the snake. The snake is really situational to get to use it. This thing, it always comes out and it's always big, and I run 2 of it just in case one gets damaged or something. I just love being able to tag in this thing, and this thing is huge. For the G-Zone, I'm playing 2 Split Pegasus, still usually my first stride. Sets up like your field. You can turn like a grade 2, like a Rewind Tiger that's already used its effect from, it's still sitting there from last turn, turn it into Transit Dragons, get some Jaws, get some Soul Charge off, buff your attacks later on. I'm playing 2 Avenir Phoenix. I used to not like this card very much, but in this build, I think it's better. If my opponent gets first stride and I G-guard, often it's better to stride into this guy in that situation than a split, because then you'll get your GB3 skill off and call field. There's some situations where they're more situational, but there are situations where it's better to go into Phoenix than Split Pegasus. Then we got our 4 Gear next. Usually use your second stride, hit them hard, put triggers back in your deck, hit them hard again. Good card. Usually don't need to use both sets, but just in case. And we got our main win condition of the deck, Heritage. You don't need to play more than 1 of it. Your opponent shouldn't be alive after you drop this. You should be able to drop this by at least 3rd stride, and then usually the game ends when you drop him and skip their turn basically. If you got lucky, you can get it on 2nd stride. 1st stride, like a Phoenix or a Pegasus, get 2 face up, G-guard twice in the opponent's turn, then you can drop this. This card is really good. You don't need to play more than 1 of it. Your opponent should not be alive after you do this. Then we're playing the 1 Dust. It's a Z-Rare. They're really good. We all know that Dust is really good as well, so I don't think it needs too much explaining. Just good card. Then we're playing the 1 Seabreeze, because it's a GB deck. It's pretty obvious. And then for the G-Guards, playing 1 Uluru, 1 Header Around, and then we're playing 2 of the ZTB G-Guard. There's a lot of Soul Blasting in this G-Guard lineup, but you can manage it. Mostly, the only reason we're playing 2 of the ZTB G-Guard here is because, as I said, you could get a Pulsar or a Heritage off on your 2nd stride if you had 2 G-Guards, a G-Guard on the opponent's turn. They give you 4 face-up ZTBs. So you can do that. That's really the only reason we're running her. If it wasn't for that, I would probably never play her at 1. But so yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching.